Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So the Sons of Appalachia said that there will be a new episode this Friday. And for me, it is Tuesday, which means that there's a new episode in 3 days and I have yet to make my theory video. So that's what we're doing today. I'm a little late and slow to October. I know I said that this was going to be a Halloween, year, or not year, but month for me, and I haven't done much Halloween, but I've also been busy, so we're getting a start here now. If you guys want to see more from me, like these theory videos, recap videos, please let me know in the comments and leave a like. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the recap video, however, this answers a lot more questions than I have to ask for this episode 5. They solve so many theories and stuff, however, I do have some things we must ask ourselves and theorize on. One question I know we are all asking ourselves is the Cherokee Devil dead? And after all that, I do fully believe that the Cherokee Devil is gone. Whether he's dead or disappeared, I'm not too sure. I don't really know much about the Cherokee Devil and the historical facts about him. However, I do believe he is currently gone. He was banging on the side of that shed while Buck was doing that ritual, and then once he finishes, silence. So I think the Cherokee Devil is trying to stop him, but obviously was unsuccessful and is no longer a threat to the guys or anyone of the Dark Forest. And now, with the presence of the 13th Dominion, we must ask the question, what is their goal in the long term of the show? So we know that they have clients, and a few questions we can ask ourselves based off the fact that they have clients is, who are the clients and what do their clients want with these trophies? For example, the Stonish Giant, which was revealed to be killed by the 13th Dominion. If you've seen my previous videos, you'll know that I've mentioned a couple times that the Stonish Giant's death was one of my favorite parts of Mountain Monsters, and I always assumed it was the Rogue team that killed them, and a lot of people said it wasn't the Rogue team, and now we have confirmation that it was the 13th Dominion. Will we even get to know who the clients are? Currently they're anonymous, only mentioned through the 13th Dominion, but that would set up an interesting story, learning who these clients are and what they want to do with these cryptids. While we're still in the 13th Dominion, let's talk about the Season 6 Scarecrow cultists of Mountain Monsters. Are they somehow connected to the 13th Dominion? And for that, I would say I don't think so. I think that the Season 6 cultists of Mountain Monsters wanted the guys to go on the Spearfinger quest to get Spearfinger, but that is as far as their story goes in Mountain Monsters. You could think of that as failed, and they probably have given up on getting the guys to get the Spearfinger, and that's where the 13th Dominion steps in. They have a client that is very interested in the Spearfinger, and I think they'll use the 13th Dominion through the Sons of Appalachia team to eventually go back for the witch to get the Spearfinger for one of their clients. Moving off of the 13th Dominion, let's talk about the witch for a second. We saw her take Huckleberry's hat, I'm pretty sure, and obviously Huckleberry's hat was found in the truck, Buck's truck, and I don't really know how it got there from the witch taking it. However, we do see the witch following the team. And why was she following the team? Either it was to take Huckleberry's hat back and put it in the truck, kind of like a, hey, we can get you without you knowing, or she was just spying on the guys to see if they've given up chasing after her or something related to that matter. And now we get into what is Memento Mori. Memento Mori means remember you must die, and is often seen as an object warning or reminding you that we all pass on some point or another. Now, what the 13th Dominion has to do with the phrase Memento Mori, I'm not too sure about. However, they did kill the Stonish Giant, and the Stonish Giant could be like a trophy, remembering that anything and everything passes on But yeah, that was just a quick little thing I wanted to say here in the theory video, just in case for any of you who don't know what Memento Mori is. Alright, so talking about a few theories that I've gotten correct, let's start with episode 4, where I mentioned that at the very end of episode 4, we saw the Cherokee Devil standing behind Buck, and that was proved to be true in episode 5. We're not too sure what happened with Buck and the Cherokee Devil after that, however, we can assume that Buck passed out and woke up a few hours later after the Cherokee Devil had left the vicinity. Another theory from episode 4 was that the feathers that they had followed was not the Raven Mocker, but in fact crows from the witch. And I still believe this to be true because I feel like we would have seen a direct encounter with the Raven Mocker at this point if it was the Raven Mocker in the Dark Forest with the rest of them. So, in the end, for that theory, I fully believe 100% that the Raven Mocker was nowhere to be seen, and it was just a bunch of crows. Going even further back through the episodes, we now find ourselves at episode 3, with one of my theories asking us, who were the two lights Buck saw in the woods? I think I said Rogue Team at the time, and while it wasn't exactly right, I do believe that it was someone watching them, and now we know who potentially was in the woods with them at that time, and that being the 13th Dominion. It really makes you think, why are they watching the SOA team from afar? What could they possibly want? And obviously, what they want, as they said in that video they sent to the SOA team, would be the Spearfinger. They seek the Spearfinger for a client. It seems now the Spearfinger quest is over, however, that could be something that the team goes back to with the 13th Dominion in the future. And then one final theory to talk about that I had between episodes 2 and 3 was that the Spearfinger quest was being intertwined into the Tigert Valley, and I still believe this to be 100% true. It may not be going that direction currently with the 13th Dominion involved, but I believe it's going to go that they seek the 13th Dominion and find them. That's when the 13th Dominion offers them a reward for going on this quest to get them the Spearfinger. And that's when we discover what the witch wants with the Spearfinger and what's happening in the Tigert Valley. However, I believe that is further on down the line that we will see episodes and episodes in the future. For now, we must worry about the hunt for the Dogman and finding the 13th Dominion. And speaking of the witch having the Spearfinger, we must ask ourselves, what does the witch want with the Spearfinger? I've tried thinking of theories and ideas for why she'd want it. We obviously know why the 13th Dominion would want it. They want to sell it to a client, just like they did with the Stonish Giant's body. However, the witch, though, she had some ritual going on. Maybe she's trying to resurrect the Spearfinger. I'm unsure. I don't have very many answers. That's just something, like I said, we'll have to see for episodes in the future, talked upon and acted upon. Of course, we have to address the elephant in the room. Why did Trapper hide the box with the new book in it from the rest of the team? This is something we are currently unaware about. We know that Trapper hid the book from him, said from the 13th Dominion video, and that he tried to burn it, destroying the products of the box, but was unsuccessful. Is there really something that dangerous out there that he had to protect them by burning the contents of this box? It's going to be super exciting and dangerous to see what they're potentially up against in the future. As of right now, we've been going up against monsters we've already seen. Maybe there is a new cryptid out there that we are totally unaware about that they're going to discover, and that's going to be insanely dangerous. And then we have these bathrobe figures. I love the name I come up with them. I smile every time I say bathrobe figures. But what are these figures' deals? They don't look like the Scarecrow cultists from Mountain Monsters. They don't look like the 13th Dominion. And they definitely do not look like the Rogue Team. Could these potentially be ghosts? Is this going to be a new field that the SOA team explore on, the paranormal side of Appalachia? I'm not too sure. I feel like in a live stream they said that they weren't going to do paranormal things. They're mainly cryptid focused. So if I can find that clip, I'll put it up, but if I don't, then I'm just going to keep talking. However, with all of that out of the way, I think I've covered everything I've wanted to cover. There are some theories I decided to not talk upon, like I put down here from episode 2, the poem theory being about Buck. If you remember from episode 2, that we had this poem that like weirdly explained Trapper and Buck's life about having a curse upon their bloodline. And I chose not to talk about that, mainly because like we haven't really explored much of it since then, other than the fact that the Cherokee Devil wanted Buck, so that could be proof that it is towards Buck. However, I have a lot of these mini theories I haven't talked too much upon, just because I want to wait and see if we get more evidence or information before pushing out a theory on the Taylor County Riverman disrupting the hunts or something weird like that. I'd also like to mention that that is not a real cryptid. Taylor County is the first thing I came into my mind, since like Taylor County is where Grafton is, and Grafton has the Grafton Monster. In the end, I'm really glad that the Sons of Appalachia team are continuing Mountain Monster's legacy, going on these hunts. It's unreal to me that they've continued the show even after being canceled. The quality keeps getting better, the entertainment value is high, and it's free on YouTube entirely, which is super awesome. Not another subscription I have to add to my monthly subscriptions. I also really appreciate the SOA team, that y'all are always in my comments leaving nice things, and I love that you guys are just here watching my content, and I'm glad you guys allow me to do this content. I don't think I've said it publicly in a video, but I really, really appreciate it. However, that will be the first of many theory videos, hopefully. I'm sure I got some things wrong, as theories do. Theories are not always correct. You know, you're getting ideas out there that could lead to other things being correct, and that's what I really want to work on. These theory videos are actually really fun. I've always loved doing the theory section of my videos, and now I have a dedicated video for my channel. However, I will stop rambling on further and leave you all to have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm really starting to lose my voice from how much I've talked. I'm getting a little hoarse and thirsty. And thank you guys so much for returning to my channel to watch this video. We will be back for episode 6 of the Sons of Appalachia, when we do, once again, another recap and theory video, hopefully a little quicker than this video took for my recap, but it's all in good fun. I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.